Sure. Okay, so this is our third coaching session between Sam and Kath, and we're doing situational coaching today. So, Sam, in terms of our conversation today, our time today, and we've got about 55 minutes, what would be most useful in terms of our time today?
Okay. So yeah, and I think it's the same thing I've been mentioning of all my sessions is like what I am after is with our conversation every time whenever we meet. Obviously, there are a lot of learnings which comes out of our conversation, but the basic goal which I am looking at is how to be how to move from an individual contributor to a leadership role. And when I say leadership, it's not only people leadership, be it a project management role or be it a role where I can manage people well. Although I have been always with virtual team and it was always been a successful thing, but I would still would like to understand more on the leadership part and how to get on to that sort of a thing. You know, that's what I want to learn mainly.
And when you talk about, so, and if I think about the when we did your strengths debrief, those great, that great powerful combination of, both sort of teacher and stimulator, so teacher and influencer, is a really powerful combination in a leadership context. So, just to help me clarify, you're talking about a leadership role in terms of leading either a large or substantial piece of work and or leading a team. It can be both. It's about moving into that real leadership space.
Yes, and that's what I want to learn that because I have total 15 years of experience and I have led a lot of virtual teams, but as a direct reporting, I haven't done it, and somehow I'm not sure if I can do it or I cannot. So, making that call or even with people leadership, you need to understand people. It's the same like when you're doing in a virtual team, and rather I feel that virtual team is different and more difficult to handle because they don't directly report to you, but as on a project they have to let you know all the stuff they do. So it's a kind of reporting but not actually on paper. So it's hard to manage that, but there has to be something which is different to a virtual and direct reporting, which probably I need to understand more, and I need to grow in that. That's what my goal is.
Okay, and in terms of for our time today, so I think that's, again, if I think about one of your great strengths, which is about that teacher strength, that learning, and you've just really played back to me that sense of I want to learn, I want to continue to learn and grow, and you have a real energy and passion for that. In terms of our time specifically today, is there something, I guess, what more specifically, I guess could we, if you were to walk out of our hour today and know that you'd been successful or we'd met an objective or an outcome for you, what would that be?
Probably how to deal with tough people. So people who are not happy to cooperate, people are not happy to accept you the way you are. They're always they always question you what you do, even though it's right. So maybe that's something I'm looking for after this. I should be able to, if you can help me with that. How to handle those.
How to deal with tough people. And I think that's something that we all are challenged with in terms of people that are different to us or people that are difficult. So and a real linkage there, I think, around your virtual teams and tough people. So especially tough people when you might not have a direct, if I'm understanding, a direct reporting relationship. So fantastic. And so when you think about sort of tough people or difficult people, and maybe picture one in your mind. What do you think about them, or what's your perspective on a tough or a difficult person? And perhaps if you could think about one.
I think to me they have their own perceptive, and they don't want to listen to someone else, like they have walls around them, and that's it, like their walls, their voice, everything about them. So to me, difficult people or different people, a different person would be the person who's not able to listen to you, and they don't even want that you should listen to them. They just want to do things their own way. So to me, I think that's how I describe a difficult person, who doesn't want to listen, who doesn't want to discuss, who doesn't want to get into that self-healing thing, which is now on in NBN, where we have to solve the problems together and listening to each other and getting onto the root cause and then solving it. So to me, that's what difficult person is. Yes.
And when you think about these kind of individuals, and it sounds like you've had some experiences with them in the past, what are some of the things that you've tried in the past in terms of overcoming some of these closed walls around them, that they just want to do things their own way?
I started the way I started was, like, initially I used to call them, because obviously the person I'm talking about is in Melbourne, so I used to call him. But eventually, because of these the lines between both of us, he stopped picking up my calls. Then I tried Communicator, stopped doing that. Whenever I used to go to Melbourne, tried talking to him. Obviously, when you're confronting someone, he used to talk to me. But as soon as I'm gone, again the same emailing stuff, sending to the whole world, and just saying that no, I cannot do that, no, I cannot follow this, no, this is incorrect, this is not the way it happened. So to me, when I met him in person, he was quite okay. As in, you don't realize it, that once you're gone from his in front, from the way when you're standing and talking to him, and suddenly you're gone, and again the same thing will happen. He doesn't want to build a rapport kind of thing with you. And it's not me. Everyone says the same thing about that person. He keeps himself isolated. Even personally, he's isolated. So probably, to me, somehow he doesn't want to get involved in anything or anyone, especially. Just want to do work at his own pace, with his own the way he wants to do it. However, things professionally doesn't work like that. We have to work with Telstra. We work on their conditions most of the time, although we are the customers, but we work on their conditions, because that's how the contractual agreement is. He doesn't want to agree on that. So I think that's how it started, and after a while, all managers had to be involved in it. Although it didn't help much, even managers, GM getting involved. It was only that I got myself moved to one team to another. That's all. So to me, there wasn't a plus. He's still the same. He still argues. It's just that I have been told that I won't be replying to him, rather than he was stopped on anything. So now I don't reply. Either my manager replies, or my team leader replies, or I have to ping my ex-manager to say that this is unreasonable, this was being approved, blah blah blah. That's it. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't. So it's still a question mark. Where did things go wrong? My ex-manager did mention that to me, that being he takes me as a strong lady, and He becomes very defensive as soon as I send an email. He thinks I always order things. So the way I put up email, I have to be polite. I tried that, it didn't help. So, after a while, it's,
So I guess when you take a step back, or you look at that situation, when you observe, if you were to be sort of standing above and observing that situation and that interaction, what things might you have, on reflection, might you have said to yourself or throughout that process?
leave him. He's impossible.
Leave him be. He's impossible.
Yeah, he's impossible. He doesn't. He doesn't want. He doesn't. He wants isolation. And I think all I know until now about him is, he's like that. As in, he doesn't want anyone. He doesn't go out anywhere. The only person he talks to or he's nice to is the immediate manager, because obviously he has a job. But that's it. So more or less he wants to keep himself isolated. So I don't know if I go back and start rewind things and start at the back, if I would have done anything different to keep him happy. I still can't think of anything that would made him happy, because being the project lead, I have to get the things done. And it's not my personal work, it's company's work, and we need to understand that what's the contractual agreement, where we can go, where we cannot. Plus, I'm not at that level that I can straight away start talking about contractual things with Telstra. So there are few things which are not meant to be, should be happening or not meant to happen. However, the decision has been taken by management. So that's what I feel. So I don't know if I can think of anything which I would have done at that point of time, and the situation had never occurred.
And what about, Sam, was there a time, if we think about another difficult person, where they were difficult but you were able to turn them around or influence them in some way to...
Yes. In my previous company, there was this lady who was really, again, because of, I feel that the difficult person either is generally who doesn't want to involve himself or herself with anyone, or they have some very bad personal experience and that's how they become. So the lady I'm talking about, she was one of the PMs, and because of her personal experience, she was really ruthless, and she used to be very blunt while talking, and not even thinking that you are in front of the whole team and all that stuff. So I was working with her on a project where I realized that it's very hard to speak to her if we need to discuss the project. But because the project, and she was a very important stakeholder for us, so we had to get the project delivered. So on that, I actually started knowing her more, like spending time not only at that office level but also at personal level, just to understand what is she, and that obviously made my life quite easier, because once you know a person, you know how that person will behave if you do this or if you do that. So just analyzing those kind of stuff.
Well, what did you do specifically, Sam, when you said I got to know her? What did that look like in terms of the specific things you did?
Initially, I just caught up with her in a normal way, as in with regards to the project, and then I started catching up with her for coffees, lunches, If I'm going to the market, I used to ask her during lunchtime, like I'm going out to get something, would you be interested in coming? And of course, everyone needs outlet if that person doesn't want to be isolated. And I felt that she was one of those, you know, she wasn't like that, but obviously her personal situations made her like that, and because she was there for a while, and she being so blunt, no one used to um, speak to her a lot. But being a lady, I think I could judge that, and that's how we started catching up a lot. And eventually, I got my project done, but she's in my network, and she's my very good friend of mine. So I learned a lot of things from her with regards to project management. And yeah, she's pretty normal with me now. So
Fantastic. So I think just to play back to you, what I heard was some fantastic uh, things that you did around getting to know her personally and almost walking a mile in her shoes and understanding. And you mentioned her personal experience had made her behave in a certain way.
yeah.
So was that her experience, or what experiences were those?
Oh, the personal experience. Her husband left her with two kids. So, and for us,
Wow.
for back in India, as in for Asians, it's not a normal thing. You know, you can't get remarried. It's very constrained, and her family was very strict. They blamed her, so even her parental on the parent side and on the in-law side, she was with no one. So she had to do it struggle by herself. Yeah. So and it happened when the kids were too young, you know, when she actually needed a hand.
Yeah, right.
So it was a very sad story. So
and how did she react to your reaching out, that creating connection, and I'm hearing kindness, genuine kindness. How did she react to that?
Maybe she didn't realize it what I was doing it, and to me, after a while, it wasn't about a project. It was more about soothing someone. It was more about you giving a hand to someone who really needs it. So everyone is brought up with their own values, and that's what my parents have taught, that if someone needs it, you should be there, and that's what I did. Uh, it was more or less on a human basic, and not on the office part, because yeah, you get to know a lot of people, and everyone has their own issues. It's I don't think so anyone's life is perfect, but a person a person with at such young age suffering so much obviously needs a hand when no one is around. So I think that's all I did. I didn't do much, like, because I couldn't do much except that, you know, giving her my shoulder for a while. She's still there, I'm here, and you know, we still still talk to each other, so that's all I could do.
And the relationship and the effective working relationship after you had invested that time and showed that kindness, how did that play out?
My project was successfully done, and people were amazed. Oh my God, you got the work done by her. The only thing I used to explain, she's not that bad. It's just that you have to be nice to her for her to feel that. And I never told anyone that. Obviously, our personal life was different. That why is she like that, and you know, why or how you should be doing it. But it's just that I just told them that, see, I don't think so she's so harsh, or she's so the way she looks like. It's just that if you be a bit cooperative or collaborative, I think things would work out in a much better way. Yeah, you know, this is just a part of our everyday job.
Fantastic. So a really successful project delivery based on that investment in the relationship. You also I picked up on some words there about you learnt a lot from her, which I really hear that strong, teacher coming out in you in terms of of learning. What were some of the things you learnt from her, Sam?
One was that the first thing what I learned was on a personal level to be content what I had.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I was also married, although I didn't have kids at that time, but I was married, so I was like, I stopped complaining
about your husband.
So I was like, no more complaints, because I know the love he gives me, the support he gives me, it's more than anyone could get. And obviously on professional level, she was a project manager. She knew her work quite well. She knew how to do the stakeholder management quite well. So and what to talk, when to talk, in what meetings. So that those things I really picked up from her. So yeah, a lot of good things, good qualities she had. Plus, obviously, whatever things happened, she was more mature. I would say she could understand life much more and better than me, especially because I was always being pampered girl from my home, from my family. So
you were a pampered girl.
Pampered child. Yes.
Really?
Yes, I was a very pampered child.
How so? What was?
I don't know, because I was always my dad's apple eye, so kind of a thing. We had 3 sisters, but I'm the middle one, but somehow I always got his attention. So that's the reason I was spoiled. But yeah, so that's the reason. And I started believing that if any human comes in your life, they are meant to come, and they are meant to teach you something, which I realized when I met her. So to me, she actually got me closer to life. So that's what I say. I learned a lot from her.
Fantastic. So I'm just going to pause the recording and then start the new recording. So end of first recording for Sam and Kath.